Oh my god, bro. Oh, hell no.
So, normally every Christmas, I pull out my box of Doctor Who Christmas Special DVDs, and then I watch a few of them for fun. It's become a sort of tradition at this point, because it's kind of fun to watch Britain get attacked by aliens. Something about it is kind of comforting. However, this year, I have decided to do something different. I have decided to watch a bunch of crappy Christmas movies and then review them just for you guys. I'm talking about low quality rip-offs of classic holiday movies, Hallmark movies, and just plain very bad low budget movies. So yeah, as you probably guessed, in this video I'm talking about crappy Christmas movies because I have decided to spend my time watching these and reviewing them instead of doing anything else that I enjoy. You're welcome. Ah, man. You know, I guess this year, I'm not gonna be able to see the Master turn to Goku again. That sucks, man. Christmas Break-In. So we start the movie off by being introduced to Ned, Rico, and Barbie. 3 criminals who have just robbed a Salvation Army charity shop of a bunch of bags of coins to fund a trip to Mexico. There's probably like $50 worth of coins in each of those bags, so like, they're clearly not the smartest people.
I'll break it! No, don't touch it!
Also, by the way, these guys are the Ice Cream Truck Bandits. Can you guess why they're called the Ice Cream Truck Bandits? We're then introduced to Izzy, a young girl who loves playing guitars, and her family, consisting of her teen brother and her 2 parents. Now, when I said Izzy loves playing guitars, I mean she really loves playing guitars. She's part of the rock club at school, she learned how to play the guitar from her janitor best friend, Ray, and throughout the whole year, she's been saving up money to buy a guitar at a once-a-year half-price sale at a guitar store. Now, she really wants her parents to know that they need to come on time to the school to pick her up so she can make it on time for the sale. However, that isn't happening because her parents are very busy and very forgetful, and they constantly neglect her and forget that she even exists. And man, how have child protection services not been called on these parents? I mean, you're leaving your child stuck out in a snowstorm, and apparently this isn't the first time they've forgotten about her. There must be someone who's noticed, right? So, by the time Izzy's parents finally remember that their daughter exists, they are caught in an awful snowstorm, and this snowstorm is so bad, the Ice Cream Bandits are forced to pull over and find shelter until the next day. And coincidentally, they happen to come across a school. A school that Izzy is inside. However, it's also around this time that Izzy's parents call the janitor, Ray, to go back to the school and check up on Izzy, which is really weird because the snowstorm's bad enough that the parents are struggling to drive through it. It's bad enough that the Ice Cream Bandits are forced to pull over and stay at the school for a whole night, but it's not bad enough that Ray is still able to drive through it. So yeah, Ray arrives at the school, but then he gets captured by the bandits. In order to protect her friend, Izzy decides to set up a bunch of traps around the school, and well, they're not really traps if I'm gonna be honest. In fact, most of her like little sneaky like traps, what? I keep saying traps, but not even traps. What am I going on about? The only reason a lot of the things that Izzy sets up even work is because Ray tells a really good ghost story he just pulled out of his ass.
They say that condemned still walk the halls at night. It's still paying the price of the crimes they committed a half-century ago.
Don't listen to him.
So yeah, Izzy then goes inside the vents. Do not make an Among Us joke. Do not make an Among Us joke. And then Izzy blasts a fan through the vents to make the bandits think that the ghost has shown up and that they're getting cold because of it, and totally not because there's a blizzard happening and you would expect to be cold during a blizzard. So yeah, Rico then gets sent to go investigate. He gets jump scared by Izzy and fucking dies. Then, Barbie gets lured by Izzy and gets locked inside a closet. Meanwhile, Ray is doing a talk no jutsu on Ned and convinces Ned to change his ways and stop helping the bandits. I didn't mention this until now, but Izzy's parents have been going on an epic journey across the country to try and get to the school. They try various forms of transportation. First their car, which they crash. Then they hop onto a stolen snowmobile. They crash that as well. They try and walk. That doesn't turn out well. Then they try a sleigh. And yeah, there's just a bunch of stuff they try out and they fail miserably at. Up until some guy comes by who is totally not Santa. Yeah, definitely not Santa. Totally not. But it's not just Izzy's parents trying to get to school. Izzy's older brother has been at a friend's house and they are currently rigging up a snowboard to a bunch of drones so then the drones can fly Izzy's brother all the way to the school. Awesome plan. So yeah, Barbie got out of the closet and then she's running off with the money and she's trying to get away on the ice cream truck when suddenly the guy who is totally not Santa rams into the ice cream truck, knocking her over.
Finish her!
And then at the exact same moment, Izzy's brother shows up on a snowboard and knocks Barbie out.
Fatality.
So then the police arrive and they arrest the ice cream truck bandits.
Don't put him in my car!
And Ray is still talking to Ned, and he tells Ned not to worry because he knows Ned is a good guy, and also because Ray is friends with the local judge, and he has a feeling that because they're friends, Ned is gonna get a lighter sentence. Also, it's midnight by the time the parents get there. It has taken them 9 hours to get to the school. How far away is the school? Do you send Izzy to school in Alaska or something? Okay, so now it's the final scene. Everybody is celebrating Christmas together and everybody's happy.
And what's Christmas without goofy slippers?
Yeah, I'll second that.
Izzy's parents give Izzy a guitar case and it is empty because they forgot to bring their daughter to the one-day 50% off sale. Good going. Oh, but don't worry, because Ray, he's decided to give his precious guitar that he named after his dead wife. I don't know why you would give that up to some kid on Christmas morning, but like, I don't know, Christmas spirit, I guess. I don't know, I just don't think that's something you normally give to some kid, you know? Your precious guitar named after your dead wife. You'd think that'd have more sentimentality and value to it, you know? At least we get to see Izzy playing the guitar, right? Oh boy, I can't wait to see it. Roll credits. So yeah, this movie is just Home Alone but with a female protagonist and takes place in a school. However, it has none of the charm, creativity, or humor that the original one had. Because in Home Alone, Kevin, he's protecting his house from the wet bandits. Oh boy, awfully similar to the ice cream truck bandits. You'd wonder where they got the name from. When he sets up the traps and the bandits fall into it, you feel a sense that Kevin's actually delaying them, actually stopping them. But then in Christmas Break-In, the closest we got to something like that was just Izzy setting up a tennis ball machine to shoot at Barbie, which stopped her for like a second, probably. If only they spent more of that $7 million budget on something other than Danny Glover's paycheck. So yeah, overall the movie, it's somewhat less than okay. It might be passable for kids, but like honestly even kids might find this boring because like so little happens throughout the whole movie. I guess overall I would rate it 4 out of 10 Danny Glovers.
I'm too old for this shit.
A Christmas Princess. A Christmas Princess is a 2019 film directed by Fred Olen Ray, who you might know for directing Bad Girls from Mars, Attack of the 60-Foot-Tall Centerfold, Hollywood Chainsaw Hookers. So anyways, I hope you're not hungry because this movie is full of stock food footage that seem to have higher production values than the movie itself. So we start the movie by being introduced to Jessica and her 2 co-workers at her cafe. Jessica's landlord then shows up and says they have 1 more month left to pay rent or else the cafe is gonna be closed down. Food transition. So next we get introduced to Prince Jack of Edgemont, or Prince John. They keep jumping between the two back and forth. I might have missed a detail, but yeah, I'll just call him Prince Jack from this point on. Apparently this guy is European royalty, but he has an Australian accent.
I think I'd prefer something more native. Smells like it's coming from there.
He's visiting New York and he's gonna hold a very, very big banquet for other nobles and royalty in just 10 days. However, he has recently decided to fire his caterer just 10 days before the event, and now he's scrambling to find a replacement. What? Also, the movie implies that he was considering Guy Fieri as a replacement caterer.
What about that fellow from the television show? The one about the diners and the driving?
I would want to see that movie. I want to see Prince Jack fall in love with Guy Fieri. I want to see that movie. So he decides to go to a random cafe, which happens to be Jessica's cafe. And he tries out the cafe's meatloaf. Or, well, you could call it loaf of meat, as he calls it, apparently.
I should like to order your loaf of meat.
All right, one meatloaf.
Correct.
But yeah, he likes the meatloaf so much, he wants to hire Jessica as his new caterer. First thing, what if the meatloaf is the only good thing in that cafe? I have been to many restaurants where they have like one good dish and everything else is just either meh or awful. What if this was one of those cafes? Like, imagine you're royalty and you're going to a fancy banquet that some prince has prepared, and the only edible thing at the banquet is the meatloaf. Everything else tastes like utter crap. Could you imagine that? Oh dear me, why am I Italian? I think, you know what, yeah, I'm Italian now. Oh dear me, this meatloaf is delectable, but everything else tastes like a shit. Well, the prince, he fired his caterer and hired some random lady. Apparently he was horny for her. So yeah, Jessica then decides to decline the offer, even though her cafe would probably really need the help of publicity and the money made from a banquet, but like, you do you. Food transition. So after some persuasion from the prince, which includes tracking her address and then going into her house, Jessica decides to take the job. So it's the first day of Jessica planning the banquet with Prince John, and ooh, very necessary shirtless shot. So yeah, the two of them are planning their menu and they have a nice day planning together. They figure out what's gonna be on the menu and stuff like that. Food transition. And then they go down to the lobby where we see the most pathetic looking paparazzi group I've ever seen. And then later in the movie, we see the exact same group again, hounding them for photos. Are these like the only journalists in all of New York or something? You'd think there'd be more press coverage for a European prince holding a banquet in New York, but nope, it's just these four people. Later in the movie, Prince Jack offers Jessica a state-of-the-art meth lab, I mean kitchen, in order to help her and her co-workers have better equipment to prepare food for like 100 people. Jessica then declines. Jessica, please, just take this man's help. You're gonna need it. So after visiting the kitchen, Jessica and Jack, they go to an art museum because that is where the banquet will be held. So this is when we get to see Jessica's favorite work of art. I want you to take a look at this. This is apparently a picture taken during the early days of the Great Depression. This is very much clearly not a picture taken during the early days of the Great Depression. We then find out that Prince Jack's parents are very disappointed in him. Why? Because they found out he's hired Jessica and they're scared he's gonna start dating Jessica, and they can't have that because they need to maintain the purity of the bloodline. Also, holy crap, no one in the royal family can do a British accent.
Mr. Rolova, I'm certain that if my son sought to replace your services, it was for good reason.
I mean, I can't do one either. You guys heard my attempt. Jessica is now off to do another day of planning with Jack. And what they gotta do? They are going to some random village where they're gonna hang out and look for inspiration for the menu. You guys are acting pretty chill for people who have less than a week to prepare a whole banquet of food. Almost as productive as me making this video. All the way back in Edgemont, Jack's parents are getting ready to leave to America. And they're bringing along Eliza, who is totally not Jack's second cousin or something. Yeah, I'm just gonna speed through the last bit of this movie. The two families have dinner together. John's parents bring out Eliza. I said John instead of Jack, god damn it. Jessica gets sad because she thinks it's a sign she and Jack are in separate worlds and they'll never be together. Even though most of the movie they're showing that Jack is relatable and more down to earth than the average noble, but yeah. go cry. She then runs off to be sad, but then later she returns to the cafe and everyone there is helping cook for them, even the prince. And I really gotta wonder how useful is a prince who has barely ever cooked in his life when preparing a banquet for royalty. But you go, prince. Good on you, man. Food transition. The banquet happens, they kiss, everyone is happy, the end. So yeah, this movie, it's I don't know, it just doesn't make sense and it's kind of boring. As for why it doesn't make sense, they have like 10 days to prepare for a banquet and they are just so chill and they don't care about it at all. As for why it's boring, it's not because I hate romance movies. I can enjoy a good cheesy romance movie. My friends say that I kick my feet up in the air like a teenage girl, which is very totally not true. I will kill anyone who says otherwise. It's just that this movie, like I said, it doesn't make sense and it's very predictable. The little twist of like Jessica being like, oh boy, Prince Jack and I aren't ever gonna get together. It just doesn't make sense. So you just feel like nothing really. Just a minor little nitpick, but they keep going on about how Jessica is such a great chef and amazing at cooking, but we never see her cook once in the whole movie. All the cooking that is done on screen is done by everybody else. Even the prince cooks. But Jessica, we just see her standing around and talking to the prince. And that's all she does. Wait, one last thing about this movie before I go. So, while doing research for it, I found out that Fred Olen Ray, he has made not one, not two, but 3 other movies that have the exact same premise of a European prince coming to America and falling in love with a normal American woman. Now, I thought it was just a weird little coincidence, but then I found out that this movie's events are referenced in another movie. So, basically, screw the MCU, I am going all in on the crappy Christmas Prince movies.
I'm here to talk to you about the Avenger Initiative.
So anyways, as for what I would rate Christmas Prince, I would give it 3 shirtless Prince Jacks out of 10. Christmas tears. Oh my god, I've been so excited to get to this movie. There's a reason I've been saving it till the end. So we start off with a JPEG lightning bolt that the director probably nabbed off of Google Images. Then we see the name of the studio. And then a few seconds later, we see they spelled the name of their own studio wrong. That's how you know you're in for a great movie, man. Oh my god, these intro credits are beautiful, man. The frame rate is so low on it. Your Wi-Fi is not slowing down. This is just a movie. Can you imagine being an actor on this movie only to have your name cut off on the credits? A good thing they didn't cut off Santa's credits though, because Santa himself plays Santa. Oh my god, dude. The man himself came down from the North Pole, stopped enslaving his slaves, elves, just to film this movie. Give the man a round of applause. So we're first introduced to Trevor, an angry, miserable man who isn't very nice.
How's your family? How's your mom?
Trevor, it's us, Miss Smith and Mrs. Quinn.
I know who you are, and how I've been is none of your business. And as far as my mother's concerned, why don't you go ask her yourself?
Also, he's an alcoholic. We find that out through him going into a liquor store, and I don't know why they chose to film it like this. I legitimately thought he was drunk when he entered it the first time I saw this movie, but it turns out he's not drunk. He was just... I don't know. This isn't going to be the only weird directing choice in this film though. So get ready for more. So next we meet Vincent as he's yelling and arguing with his wife and sister-in-law about how he doesn't have money to pay the bills and he doesn't have a job. One thing I love about every scene that Vincent's wife is in is that her mic sounds like it's a 12-year-old's Call of Duty mic submerged underwater. That's how bad it is.
Friends all the time. What do you mean that no one's hiring right now? It's Christmas season. Everybody's hiring right now. What do you mean that no one's hiring right now? It's Christmas season. Everybody's hiring right now.
So after a very heated argument, Vincent leaves the house, but Vincent's wife then says,
I don't care if you don't get me a gift, but you damn well better get your daughter something.
Lastly, we meet Ricky, who is sitting in bed reading a letter from his dad, who was sent to the Middle East as a soldier and never came back. He heads downstairs to see his mom cooking, and then he realizes his mom has cooked more than she should have.
You expecting some guests?
No, it's just you, the kids, and I.
Kids don't eat that much, Ma.
I know, but I'm also cooking for your father.
Dad's not here, Ma. He's not coming back. When are you gonna get this through your thick skull already?
The two of them then get into an argument because Ricky wants his mother to stop clinging onto the past, and his mother's pissed at him for not having the hope that his dad's still alive. The argument then ends after Ricky's mom gives him the most gentle looking slap I've ever seen in a film.
3, 2, 1, go!
So yeah, our little trio of guys, they are all assholes who have no faith in God anymore.
Do you happen to have any change? I'm very hungry. I haven't eaten in days.
Really? More like you haven't gotten drunk in days.
Prayer? You know, why don't you take that prayer and you can shove it. Besides, who you praying to? There ain't no God.
Later, all our buddies have gotten together, they're hanging out and drinking and being sad.
More like you haven't gotten drunk in days.
They talk about how they no longer feel happy during Christmas, and they start reminiscing about the past, back when Christmas used to mean joy and happiness for them. We get a very, very long flashback scene to last year at a party at Vincent's house, and it's also when we find out that the reason why Trevor is so miserable and angry on Christmas is because his mom was killed by a drunk driver. And then Vincent drops his Christmas drama. The reason he feels so sad and miserable during Christmas is because Santa never gave him toy guns. What? Trevor just dropped how he feels sad because his mom died. And then you're like, oh man, a shame I never got toy guns as a kid. Ricky then starts talking about how his dad is probably dead in the Middle East, and he's so disappointed in his mom for just constantly clinging onto the hope that he might come back alive. Hey guys, which one of these three does not belong? So after some more depressing chats, everyone realizes they're broke as hell, and they all desperately need money for different reasons. Vincent needs money to pay the bills and get gifts. Trevor needs money for booze, and Ricky needs money for his family. And so Trevor comes up with a plan. He pulls out a gun and he decides that they should rob someone for cash.
I bought it a while back, and it's loaded.
Yo, you gotta get rid of that. It could have been used for a murder or something.
So now they're wandering around looking for someone to rob when they find a Santa who just dropped off gifts for kids, and they follow him for a very long time with some overly dramatic music playing in the background. The scene also starts off looking like late afternoon, but by the time they finally decide to mug him, it is pitch black out. Just how long are you guys following this man? But then we find out that this Santa, he is the real Santa.
How do you know our names? I know all my children's names, and you know mine as well. It's me.
Santa?
And Santa is here to preach the word of God, baby. It looks like the capitalist mascot, Santa Claus, is now working for Jesus Christ. So Trevor gets freaked out at this guy who suddenly knows his name, address, and everything, and he runs away when he comes across his mom. But she's back as some sort of Holy Spirit thing. His mom then starts talking about how Trevor has now become a bad boy, and she's very disappointed in him. And they just talk and talk, and it's a very emotional scene, and then the mom vanishes. and then all the other guys catch up with him. Okay, now we get to the part of the movie that drives me nuts. This whole time, Trevor's been holding onto the gun that he was planning to use to rob someone. And after his mom disappears, he's just holding onto it, and then Vincent comes over and is like,
Hey, look at me. It's gonna be okay. It's gonna be okay. You're right. Why don't you give me that? Yeah. Come on.
So now Vincent is holding the gun, and then Santa Claus comes over and he says to Vincent,
When you were a little boy, didn't you want a set of toy cowboy guns? Yeah. Your parents, they never wanted you to have them. Why? They feared that one day you might actually have a real one in your hands. Hurt somebody else or possibly yourself.
That's crazy. I would never...
like, what? He took the gun to stop his friend from hurting others, not to hurt someone. Stop crying! Bro, did Chris Chibnall write this or something?
You are not shooting those creatures.
So after Vincent passes the gun to Santa, oh great, Santa has a gun now. What's he gonna do with it?
No witnesses?
Santa then lets Vincent pick out a gift from the bag for his daughter. However, Ricky does not believe that this is Santa, and he says that,
And if you're really Santa, then you must know God.
huh? Since when was Santa a religious figure? Is this some sort of new church of Christianity I haven't heard about? Okay, now I'm going to be honest. I was hoping at this moment Santa would tell Ricky, hey, reach into my bag as well. And then Ricky, he sticks his hand inside of the bag. He grabs onto something and he's pulling and pulling, but whatever he's grabbed onto, it's not coming out. And then with one hard, tough yank, he pulls out his father all the way back from the Middle East. But yeah, unfortunately that's not what happened. So then Santa uses the talk no jutsu on the guys and they all know the error of their ways.
But always remember, faith, hope, understanding, but most of all love. Christmas, it was never about me. The day belongs to Jesus. Pray to him. Often. The only way to the Father is through him.
Trevor and Vincent are then walking home when they find some lady's wallet, and then they return it. Can you believe it? No way! Holy shit, this lady was an angel? What? Meanwhile, Ricky goes back to the homeless guy he trashed on and gives him money that magically appeared in his pocket.
Thank you. You have a heart of gold.
Oh my god, he's an angel as well! So then Trevor and Vincent go back to Vincent's house and oh wow, looks like Santa's delivered presents, but no! Vincent's wife believes that it was all Vincent because every single one of the presents has Vincent's name on it. And like she just instantly loves him again or something. I don't know why she's not questioning how Vincent had no money to pay the bills or anything, but he has enough to get a whole tree full of presents. You'd think she'd think something's up, but okay. Meanwhile, Ricky goes back home and he finds out his dad has come back. Now, how did his dad come back? You see, Santa, he tracked down where Ricky's dad was, single-handedly freed Ricky's dad from the clutches of the Taliban or whatever, and then led the US Army to the base of the Taliban. Trevor then proposes to Vincent's sister-in-law. Everyone is happy. The end. Vincent gets his toy guns and gets emotional over it. So yeah, this movie is a mess. The audio mixing is terrible.
And what better way to celebrate Christmas?
The special effects are terrible, the acting is awful, the story tries to be serious so badly, but it just flops on its face so hard. This movie also somehow has a 7.3 star rating on IMDb, but then I went on Amazon Prime and I looked at the movie's ratings, and I saw a lot of them were like 5-star ratings from people that I can probably guess are just friends of the director. But yeah, this movie, while it isn't well made, it was so fun to watch. I guarantee that if you watch it with some of your friends, you are going to have the time of your life just making fun of it. So my final rating for it, I will give it 10 out of 10 Christian Santas. So yeah, that's all I have for this video. As of recording this, I am almost at 300 subs, so thank you very much. I'll continue producing content. I have a lot of stuff planned once again. I have too many ideas in my head. So yeah, goodbye for now, and I'll see you in the next one.